Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In my very last video, I shared perspective from a few different XRP chart analysts who were warning that there's a reasonable possibility, though not a certainty, that XRP actually could be pulling back before ultimately seeing a continuation to the downside. One of them even noted that, hey, it looks like this most recent upward price action for XRP, hitting almost 66 cents the other day, looks like that was actually just a fake out. And at least to this point, since the time I published that video, which was probably like 8 or 9 hours ago, we have seen a move to the downside in price for XRP. It's now at 61 cents. Although, also worth noting, that happened in correlation with a particularly large dip. Well, subjectively, I say large. We're within a narrow range of volatility, but it caused panic, so that's the reason I worded it like that. Bitcoin went down, got into the 63,000s. XRP went along with it. Now, recently, when Bitcoin has been tanking, caused the rest of the market to move down as well. For the most part, up to this point in over the last week or two, XRP, when this would happen, XRP is like, nah, I'm just not going to do that. But this time, it absolutely correlated and resulted in a downward move. Which is why it's still cool to see XRP at 61 cents. And yes, a couple hours ago, XRP hit about 59 cents, but still hanging around this range. So I'm not going to focus as much in this video about the short-term price action for XRP. I had a whole long video. It was my very last one. Check it out if you're curious about that. I share perspective from multiple analysts giving their reasons as to why they think there's a very good chance XRP could have even more of a pullback than this. I'm not going to focus too much on that in this video. You know what I'm actually excited to share with you is that the fact that even if those analysts are right, and they'd all tell you this too, even if they're right, XRP is still going to blast off to a new all-time high this market cycle, melt faces, enterprise discovery, all that jazz. They all still believe that. And in fact, I'm going to share with you perspective from a number of analysts in this video, including one who says that, and this is a quote, the raging bull indicator just turned on. That's a quote. And specifically for XRP. I'm also going to highlight the degree to which XRP over the last couple of months has been outperforming almost the entire market, certainly in terms of the large and some mid-cap coins. Like, I just want to make sure that everybody fully appreciates that this XRP price action is not what you normally see, and it's putting to shame the rest of the market. So even if we just went from about 66 cents down to 59 cents, and now we're a hair above that, big picture's not going to matter. The reason that I took time to speak about it in my last video is because, frankly, as I stated in the video, and you should check it out if you have any concerns, we are our own worst enemy when it comes to investing, but it's not going to matter. XRP, it's never going to go up in a straight line in terms of price action. Bitcoin doesn't, ETH doesn't, no coin does. But let's take a look at what's actually happened here. So here's the 24-hour chart for XRP. Now here's the 24-hour chart for Bitcoin, and you can see in terms of when the legs down were happening, it's pretty similar, right? If you've got human eyeballs, you can probably sniff that out a little bit here. And so, yes, XRP, at this moment at least, is kind of back to mimicking what Bitcoin's doing here, but it's still showing a lot of strength here. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Cryptos, and he posted this at 11:08 p.m. Oh, by the way, in case somebody's curious, it is 2:20 a.m., so we're out of July now. It is August 1st. My time flies when you're having fun. It's Thursday, August 1st, 2024, 2:20 a.m. I'm way up past my bedtime. So here Cryptos says, and this is at 11:08 p.m., so just a few hours ago, XRP rejected again at critical level. Need to see a weekly close above the pink for the real breakout, XRP. And so I will note, XRP, at the time we had the weekly close, it was around, I want to say like 63, maybe 63.3 cents. So below notable resistance that many analysts have been citing, whether they, and they're all kind of vary a little bit in what they think the actual level is, 64, 65, 66 cents, anywhere around there. Most of them are more likely to say, from what I've seen, about 64 cents. So a little bit below that. But here it says, again, rejected at a critical level, and I've seen a lot of comments like that from a lot of analysts. I mostly focused on that in the last video. But even so, could I just take a moment to highlight how incredible XRP has been performing? The answer is yes, because this is my channel, damn it. I do what I want. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom at TraderView2. And he wrote, since June 1st, highest gainers in top 125. So out of the top 125 cryptocurrencies, what were the top gainers? Well, here you can see XRP came in at number 2, plus 25% over the last 2 months since June 1st. Now, take a look at this, though, because he got a response from ChartingGuy, and he said, now do July 1st. So he wanted to see a same chart, but different timeline. And then he said, better yet, July 5th. Now, why did he say July 5th instead of July 1st? Well, here, let me show you a 30-day chart for XRP. This is why. This is right here. Yeah, there it is. That's the so that was the bottom for XRP, priced against the United States most recently. I mean, the actual bottom for the cycle was June of 2022. But here you can see it closed at 40 cents. It actually wicked as low as about 38 cents on July 5th. That's why he said that. So if you look from XRP's most recent local bottom, man, it's had a hell of a run since then. And so here we have, where we go? We had a response from Dom at TraderView2, and he said, and this is kind of interesting too. It's the Dino coins perform. Aren't they supposed to be dead? Those old coins from cycles long ago. Well, here he said Dino Zcash actually has the lead, and that was rather fascinating. So from that point in time. It just happens to be the case that Zcash was the #1 performer out of the top 125 coins, 86.67%, but XRP right below that at 59.81%. And again, that's out of the top 125. Folks, whatever, I understand, people feel tortured as XRP holders and so terribly beaten down. XRP has been kicking the snot out of all the other coins in terms of performance in the top 125. And by the way, it was actually even higher than that recently. This is after the most recent pullback because, mind you, so we posted this in the morning yesterday. But XRP, it got up to almost 66 cents. So the percentage would have been, even if you went from bottom to top of the most recent move, it would be even higher than that. So all that to say, for all of the talk of XRP, the Dino coin, oh, what a crap, nobody cares about the Dino coin, oh, XRP's dead, couldn't be further from the truth. And it's interesting because, again, it's not just XRP being treated that way. It's Zcash. I've been holding Zcash for years because I don't care what the narratives are or the sentiment out there. Whatever people say, I buy something and then I just hold it, and either I'm enticed to sell one day and I will, or I'm not, in which case I won't. Maybe I ride whatever to zero, in which case I'm totally at peace with that. Absolutely. But I'm not going to let sentiment from the market dictate what I hold. And the reason I do this, by the way, for most of the coins I hold, it's not even about strong conviction. Now I put most of my money in those coins that offer true utility, like XRP and HBAR. But I got a fairly, to me, subjectively large holdings in Bitcoin. But I do have fairly broad exposure in crypto. I hold 42 different cryptocurrencies, which is way more than is necessary. But I do that just because I've been in crypto almost 7 years, so I've just kind of accumulated stuff. But again, it's to have broad exposure. That's it, because I don't know for sure what's going to be the next best thing, right? I just want the exposure to the asset class. And that's why when people start saying this or that is dead, I'm just like, yeah, okay, well, maybe you're right, maybe you're not. I'm just going to go see what happens next market cycle. That's my attitude about that anyway. But look at how XRP's been performing. That's freaking incredible. And then there's this post from ChartingGuy. XRP just had a plus 31% month, outperforming almost all of the market. Don't be surprised to see something like this before expansion. 50 cents to 60 cents is a nice buy zone. Low time frames overbought, but higher time frames look very bullish. So a pullback isn't guaranteed. Overall, we go up. And so for those of you looking at the screen, you already know what he's getting at here. He's anticipating that there's a possibility, anyway, you could see XRP drop somewhere even as low as close to 50 cents. And I've seen this from multiple chart analysts. I'm not going to harp on this in this video because I went more in depth over the short-term price action in the last video. I just want to briefly mention it. It's certainly possible. But again, it doesn't change a damn thing. So fine, he says in the short term, the lower time frame, XRP overbought. Okay. Well, it's had a hell of a run up, hasn't it? It's been outperforming the rest of the market out of the top 125 coins, right? So that's not a surprise. But he says it's still looking pretty damn bullish, so pullback actually isn't guaranteed. We may not see that type of pullback. And I still think it's going to be, to whatever degree, dependent upon Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's going to have a particularly notable pullback, well, we just saw XRP getting back to moving in line with what Bitcoin's doing, so it's plausible, certainly. Then there's also this from ChartingGuy. XRP monthly RSI has broke a 6.5-year downtrend. This is not a drill. And he wrote it in all caps, which he does not normally do. And so that's definitely something that's rather notable. Look at what happened in 2017. Look at that. I just, you know what what happened in 2017. Even for those of you driving or whatever you're doing, you can't look at your screen. You know what happened in 2017. You know what's on the screen already. You don't even need to look. Just eyes on the road, motorist. Hands on the wheel at 10 and 2. So, but here we are. So that's why I'm saying, like, even in the short term, even if there's a pullback, so freaking what? This train ain't stopping, my friends. And here's another analyst, chart analyst, Tony Severino. Here's an XRP USD chart. It's a 3-month chart. And he said, the 3-month raging bull indicator just turned on in XRP for the first time since 2017. And this is another one where you're just going to need to look if you want to see exactly what he's talking about. But he calls it the raging bull indicator. And I have seen countless XRP chart analysts say, guys, haven't seen this since 2017. I mean, they're not just all copying each other. I really don't believe that, because if that were the case, how come they happen to only be copying each other during the bull market? They didn't do it any other time. Just right now, it all happens to perfectly align. No, they're not copying each other. They're independently coming to the same or very similar conclusions. That's what part of what's so exciting about this. And that's why I spend so much time every single day tracking perspective from various chart analysts, because I do think you can glean something from it. I really genuinely do. If you treat each human as though they're a data point, you can start to draw conclusions about what's most probable. If they're reputable and they know what they're talking about, not all of them are going to be right all the time. That's not the point. But if a lot of them are saying about the same thing at the same period of time about the same asset, that might mean something. And in my experience, the answer is yes. It usually, strong majority of the time, actually does mean something. That's why this is exciting to me. Here's Scott Melker, the Wolf of All Streets. Now, mind you, I think Scott seems like a real nice dude here. I know he's not a big fan of XRP, but he's certainly not trolly about it. He's not some sort of D-bag about it. And look, I don't care if people don't like the same cryptocurrencies as me. I'm an adult. I don't need somebody to like the same cryptocurrencies as me to like and respect and value them and value their perspective. I don't like the people that are D-bags and trolls about it, but Scott Melker certainly is not that. And it's just interesting to me because even though he's not particularly interested in XRP, what's happening now, even though he's not a big fan of XRP, it has caught his attention. Is that a coincidence too? No, in fact, he says this thing could really start flying. Take a look at this. And again, this is from somebody who is intellectually honest, just happens to not be a big fan of XRP. That's fine. But he's saying, yeah, there's a real good chance this thing starts to go. So here's what he wrote. XRP Weekly. So this is the 1-week chart. He says, have not looked at this chart in ages, but it is in a really interesting spot here. 4th touch of descending resistance here on the weekly. Rejection likely, but a breakout has this flying. Worth watching, regardless of your feelings towards the token. Okay, so again, this is what I keep seeing from all sorts of analysts. Rejection likely here. Okay, so that's the short term. That doesn't matter. That doesn't mean XRP will or won't. That in and of itself doesn't mean XRP will or won't hit a new all-time high. It's just something that happens even in bull markets. There are pullbacks, okay? So he's saying rejection here is likely, though not certain. I keep seeing that from analysts. But if there isn't a rejection here, he says this thing's going to start flying. That's his word, flying. And again, he's not even an XRP fan. And I keep seeing this. Isn't that interesting? I find that highly interesting. There's so much reason to have that's why I'm saying, even if there's a pullback, and again, I don't want to focus on that too much in this video, but even if there is, so what? It changes nothing, big picture. Here's a post from chart analyst Dr. Magic, XRP USD chart. And he by the way, he posted this tonight. I mean, this is just, about 2.5 hours ago, 11:58 p.m., July 31st. It has to bounce here to not invalidate the vertical accumulation idea, but you get the picture on what I mean, that if this holds, it's bullish AF. XRP now, Bitcoin last November. So he's referencing 2 different charts. The chart on your screen now is XRP, leading up to this very point. And if you're looking at the screen where I'm circling right here, this is the important part to note, roughly there. And here is Bitcoin last November, and he's saying it's the same damn thing. Here it is. He's saying it's the same damn in terms of chart, same damn thing in terms of chart formation. There you go, November last year. It did that and then rocketed to the upside. That's what he's talking about. So again, there's Bitcoin, and let's go back to XRP one more time and just pause here if you want to look at it longer, but that is exactly what he's talking about right here. So if you want to see vertical accumulation, he's saying this needs to not be invalidated. So it's going to have to bounce. It's going to have to bounce here. So we're going to find that out sooner than later. Here's another post from chart analyst Dr. Magic, XRP USD chart. And he says, XRP monthly candle closed. OBV, which is on balance volume, broke out and made a higher high. This is higher time frame, very bullish, looking for continuation now. And so again, focusing on higher time frame, just meaning bigger picture, everything's still intact. Nothing changes, even if there is a pullback, which is a question mark. We're going to find out together. It's not something to be afraid of, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it could happen. And the on balance volume, he's basically, the reason he's tracking that is because volume increase, it can indicate a potential price break. And it's just interesting. There are all sorts of metrics that are pointing to this, like Bollinger Bands, and so Bollinger Bands, they're just tracking, volatility within a particular range, and as it gets more narrow, that indicates, okay, you're going to see a break, and if the more narrow it gets, the more tightly it's squeezed, the more ferocious it is when it finally does bust. Now, that doesn't indicate whether upside or downside, but we're in a bull market, so my suspicion, just for fun, is that we would indeed be most likely moving to the upside. Here I have a post from chart analyst Bobby A. XRP USD chart on your screen here. And he posted this tonight. Or no, it wasn't. I'm sorry, this is actually July 29th. But I wanted to highlight this just because the point is, on a higher time frame, again, even if there's a pullback, it doesn't change anything. The higher time frame aspect of this is still intact. And he said a picture is worth 1,000 words, XRP. And so he's noting, as you can see if you're looking at the screen, the take profit zone, it's not shifting here. And it's a wide take profit zone, and this is just his personal opinion when it makes sense to take profit. And it's pretty wide, probably because he understands it makes sense to scale out. So kind of like if you're smart, you dollar cost average into a particular position over time. Well, in the same way you do that, you scale out at various price points. Now you have less time to scale out because when prices start going, they're at those elevated points for very brief moments in time. It could just be a matter of weeks. I mean, you can think about XRP in 2017. When it started running the middle of December 2017, it took 2.5 weeks to reach the top. And then it was still priced fairly high for, however many days after that. But the top was January 4th. So maybe the next day it's way lower than what the peak was. But it's still, I'd have to look back with the prices. It still could have been $2 and some cents, who knows. So there's still an opportunity. The point is, even if you miss the top, which you will because it's a fool's errand to try and sell the top. The point is you can scale out leading up to the point where you see the peak, and you don't know for sure where the peak is. When you're staring at the peak, even you won't even know that that's it, even if you're looking at it exactly in that moment. And some people will sell after that, but it'll still be in such a range where it's high enough that it's going to be very appealing still. But yeah, aiming for the top is a fool's errand. I'm not going to do it. It doesn't make sense for anyone to do it. You cannot do it. It's not possible. It's not going to happen. It's just like, if you've got life-changing wealth at hand, make it real by selling if you so choose. I'm not telling you what to do, but if it's enticing to you, don't worry about selling. It's so child. You can't nail the top. It's never going to happen. It's as stupid as being mad at yourself for not picking last week's winning lottery numbers. You couldn't have known. And so if you have life-changing wealth at hand, just factor that in. That's all I'm saying. But his range here anyway, and this is the reason that I'm wrapping up the video with this, he's saying the take profit zone for XRP, regardless of what happens in the short term here, even if there's a dip, $6 to $12 roughly. Maybe a little bit higher than that. Maybe it's closer to like, actually maybe that's closer to like $13. But either way, we're splitting hairs there. The point is way higher than it is now. The lower time frame stuff changes nothing. This is a time to be excited about XRP, regardless of what happens in the short term. So I'm having a blast following this, and I hope that you all are too. Thanks for coming along on the journey. You make it a lot less lonely. I do appreciate all the support. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.